everyone, and welcome to Smalltalk. This is the Smallville podcast here on the channel. I'm one-third of your co-hosts. My name is Ryan Cam. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Remember that part how I said about how season 8 was slowly becoming my favorite season? I feel like a right dummy saying that little statement, but we'll get
I
to it.
was laughing so hard under my teeth. I'm like, oh, you're gonna regret that statement.
In the business, we call this regret. But Jacob Collins, how are you?
Oh, and no, in the business we call this foreshadowing.
There you go.
I am doing fantastic. Yeah, I am just excited to talk about these episodes. Hopefully not the Superman trailer does not drop by the time we finish the recording because literally I would have been so angry because the Superman trailer is literally about to drop any day now, and so it's like it's just the countdown. We're just waiting for that nail to drop.
Like literally everyone is just Daffy Duck in that one gif of going, just
Matt said
wait.
he's
Dude,
already got
but dude, you never
a
know
breakdown
that
ready.
that trailer can drop at any moment, and it will blow up on fucking social media.
Yeah.
I mean, 28 years later, dropped at 2 a.m.
It did, and that was a great trailer, just not to
Oh
Oh yeah.
yeah,
get into details on that.
even someone for myself who have never seen the first 28 movies, I was like, oh God, this trailer looks really good, and they brought back Danny. Didn't they bring back Danny Boyle to direct this third movie?
They
Right.
did.
And
That's
Alec
what I
Garland
thought.
wrote. Yeah,
Yeah.
Alec
And they
Garland
got
wrote and
Al
directed.
yeah, and they got Alex Garland to do the script for the
I'm only
screenplay,
mad
the
about
guy who
one thing.
directed Civil War and Ex Machina.
I'm only mad about one thing, and it's something pay. The composer is John Murphy, who composed 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later. He's not composing this because he's doing Superman Legacy instead. And
Hmm.
so now the Joker and Joker 2 composers composing 28 years later.
As
And if you ever listening to 28 Days Later, the theme in a heartbeat, it is amazing. And I'm hoping that they at least put that, even though John Murphy's not involved, they put that in.
And
as long as
I can't even see the first one. I can't find any access to that film. It's not even on streaming, not
It's
even on
coming to streaming. They
VOD.
did say announce that it's coming
Oh, they
back to
did?
streaming.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully I get be able to get a chance to see it before the third film
28
comes
Days Later
out.
is amazing.
Yeah,
By the way,
I've heard nothing but great things about that
I'll
movie.
send you a link where to watch it. I'm nothing illegal. I'm just saying somewhere that we call the Nether Realm where you can watch
Better hope the feds aren't
any
watching
movie you
this.
want.
other means, if you will, but as long as
Other means.
producers don't do
I'm
a
so glad I bought it from Best Buy, the double feature 28 days and 20 on Blu-ray back when Best Buy was selling movies.
I
Because I'm
mean,
like, you know what?
I think they might still be selling it on Amazon. They might still sell it on Amazon or Walmart because Walmart is still selling physical media. And when I went to Target, they're not selling physical media. They're gone. Now they're officially not selling physical media at Target anymore.
28
we could
days.
do a whole like separate YouTube video on this channel talking about like state of physical media, but at the Walmart local to me, they still do physical media, and more often than not, a lot of it is sold out. So it's still out there. And one more note before we do move on. I sincerely hope that those composers don't do a terrible remix of To Love Somebody. That is all I ask. As long as they don't do that, then I'm set. But we have 3 episodes to get to tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Do the thing. But let's go further into the void of season 8 with season 8, episode 14 called Requiem.
It's time for you to face your defining moment.
I'm gonna make sure that we can be together.
Lex knows your weakness.
I can't find the bomb anywhere.
Look, that much kryptonite could take out half the city.
If I touch that kryptonite,
You have to.
Smallville. All new episode next Thursday at 8/7 Central.
There is an explosion in Luthor Corps when Oliver is about to announce he controls the interests of Luthor Corps. Oliver suspects Lex is behind the explosion, but he realizes the bomb was made by an ex-Queen Industries employee named Winslow Schott, who looks like Tenacious D if they were fused from 2 humans to one. Lana, Lana learns her pa- Lana learns her power suit gives her the power to absorb kryptonite. And oh, that comes in real handy by the end, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So, this was certainly something, all right, but
That's so funny going back to what you saying, what Lenswell shot, the actor who looks like fucking Jack Black and Kyle Gass and combined in the one in Tenacious D. Never fucking thought of that. And now fuck, now it's in my head. Now I now I can't stop thinking about
Dude,
it.
the dude legit had Jack Black's sideburns, and
Yeah.
no disrespect to like Kyle Gass's size, but Kyle Gass's size. It was like the two,
Yeah, because he's a plus size.
like a
And some would say
Franken.
they fit black size now.
I mean, he's been in that guy's been in a lot of supporting roles. Did you remember him that he played a high school kid in Freddy vs. Jason? That dude looks like he's fucking older than all the high school kids in that movie.
Yeah.
I
And do
always
you know like
forget
the
that Jack
stupidest
You
scene
Black.
of
remember
that
he you
part?
remember he just got fucking killed by Jason in the cornfield and he set him on fire in Freddy vs. Jason?
You remember
Jack,
how he had blood, the fake blood when he gets stabbed in his mouth, and he's running through the field. And he's going, and then when Jason stabs him, he spits out the blood.
Yeah, you noticed that he was like his
And I'm
mouth
just
was full
thinking,
because he's
you
spitting the
imagine
blood
like,
capsule.
yeah, they put the blood capsule and told him run, and he was just like,
He's like,
and then all right, spit. He's like, ugh, like I'm like, I always remember that saying. Like, I feel so bad for him having to. Not only does he have to have physical exercise,
I've heard like using a blood capsule to try to fake the blood is fucking disgusting. It makes you want to fucking throw up when you put the blood capsule in your mouth and spit the blood out, the fake blood.
and it's toxic too. They say do not
Oh
swallow
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. It's like do not fucking swallow it. And also I've heard it tastes so bad. When Jake and I talked about this before we go air, we DM'd about that this is the same actor that was in season 3 who played a different character who was a computer tech at Luthor Corp. And he was speculating whether that this is the same person. And I had to tell him that no, his backstory is completely different because
I
Winslow
still
Shot
believe. I'm
is
like, look,
he's an engineer that develops explosives device from Oliver Queen. He never worked with Lex in the beginning. The only
Lex
reason he turned
recruited
to
him
Lex
now.
because he wanted to get his revenge. Someone who is fond of his toys and his work and his mind because he was so fucking angry at Oliver that he wanted to get even with him.
I did do the math, before we went live, just so I could try to stick it to you. And I literally did the math. I'm like, Oliver said, and I listened to Oliver's dialogue, and he says 6 years he worked for. I fired him 6 years ago, and I'm like, well, if we're going by the math logic, yeah, he would still be working for Oliver when that episode aired in season 3. So I'm like, yeah, you're
Exactly,
right.
exactly. And
He would still be working.
and also he hired him out of MIT, Winslow Shot, because this guy, he's just a computer tech that worked at Luthor Corp. Just an
Imagine,
extra.
they should have done just to fill up the gap of the loopholes. That like literally when they arrest that guy from season 3, and he goes, I swear I'm not Lindsay's guy. And
That would be fun. That would be so funny.
It closed a loophole. They're like, this guy looks just like him, and it turns out he's not Winslow Scott. And then, and then all of a sudden, the guy's like, "I got to dye my hair or something." And then Winslow Scott uses him as a pup, or it would in season 9. Remember that episode in season 9? It would literally made that episode in season 9 even better. You know what I'm talking about with the toy man?
I think I know exactly what you're talking
that,
about.
that one little twist in the episode was dumb. I'm like, if they would have did that instead, it would have made that episode so much funnier because it's like, yeah. But anyway, but yeah, Ryan's like, tell me,
Tell me.
I'm keeping a respectable like distance from spoilers because I mean I only watch this show for the first time once, so I want to try and keep as far away from like things as possible. I know I can't be perfect, but I'll just try and like
I know Ryan said there's a couple of times where Ryan said a Google search will fuck your day up when it
well,
comes to these episodes.
well,
Especially
I edit this show and sometimes a picture and be like, so it's like just like the air just gets let out of your tires with that. It's happened to
like
me.
when you're trying to look for an episode, and it has this character's name and it's called this episode and the character's name, and then you see pictures for future seasons with that character, like, oh, so that character comes in a future season? Oh, and it's played by a different actor. Oh, okay.
That happens. It's hard to avoid it. But also but also when you see some still shots that are out of context and you don't really know what's going on, you kind of speculate of what you think is going to go on in the scene in this show. So you probably have never know.
I say it like maybe Ryan's looking at like a set photo, and he's like, oh, I see a set photo. So
Yeah.
I try my best to, but this episode starts off with a bomb going off, but the bomb is placed in one of those like desk toy things. It's like D D D D. I'm just like, number one, how do you get enough C4 into that little thing? Like I have so many questions Like, how
It,
can all that fit?
but also it's designed by Winslow Schott, who's a toy maker, and he's very good at advance. But also, it's not. And we already went over this. It's sometimes you have to turn on your suspender, even though it makes no fucking sense of how that happened. He's
like
making
for instance,
fucking
I had
toys
a big
bombs
issue.
that don't exist.
Like I'm like, okay, Oliver is like literally they're merging their companies or whatever. I'm like, uh, you can't just go in there like you can't
Well,
make
actually,
that.
Tess is actually allowing the
Like
merger happen. Tess is allowing this. She's the one
Tess can't
who
do that though.
arranged
She
it.
would have to get a board
She
approval.
arranged
Like
this
Tess,
shit because right now the
yeah,
world thinks that Lex is dead and that she has the share to like to Luthor Corp, and she's allowing this and she's arranging this merger with Queen Industries and Luthor Corp.
let me tell you this though, Matt. In real life, that would never happen because one, they can't announce it. They would have to get a board approval. If a board says no, and then Oliver just got to go with a tail tucked between his eyes, going, well, they said no, Tess, because Tess doesn't have the full authority. She could say,
Yeah, you're right. They do need the whole board's approval in order to get this merger going.
yeah, like when Disney bought Fox, Bob Iger had to get the board of Disney trust shareholders to
Yeah, you're
say
right.
yes.
Yeah,
And then
no,
on
you're
top of it,
right
they need
about that. Yeah.
congressional approval too. They will need Congress to come in and approve that as well
But
because
you
it
know
is
how
another company
television, but you
merging.
know it's television magic. They don't give a fuck if it's real. He was like, yeah,
I
they're
know.
doing
I'm
it.
just there watching this going, they would never allow that's in fact that's illegal.
It's
Tess would
so
actually that's
crazy
a
that in the
criminal.
television world that they make this so easy and then doing it off of the fly.
I know. I'm like, oh, it's like that scene in season 3 of Arrow whenever Brandon Routh shows up and he goes, oh, I'm Ray Palmer.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
a
dude, they did. Come to think of it, they literally took notes from Smallville.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Oh, they took notes from two things. They took notes from Smallville and they took notes from the Nolan Batman films because literally there are shit in that season 1 and 2 that are straight up from Batman Begins. And they even said in the panels at Comic Con, oh, yeah, we took a lot of inspiration from Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, Dark
Oh
Knight
yeah, I
Rises.
know. Even us as hardcore fans who follow the Batman universe and especially the Nolans, you start to put two and two together when you watch the Arrow
They
show.
literally do the Bane storyline in Batman season 3 with Danny Brick. They literally make Danny Brick Bane in season 3,
They
and they have
did.
like the whole city at the end fighting the villains. And I'm just thinking they ripped off the third act of The Dark Knight Rises with the
They
Bane and the
did.
cops. I'm like,
They did. You're right.
I'm like, okay, come on, guys, you're just stealing. And they even do that whole. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm just like watching this. I was rewatching Arrow because I like sometimes when like I'll watch. Arrow season 1 and 2 are amazing,
Oh yeah,
but I
they were
watched.
peak television
Yeah,
superhero shows easily.
that's what I was saying. Like I said, I've always said Smallville is a perfect show, but there are three things that Smallville got wrong that Arrow got right. And I'm not gonna say what because we haven't met that character yet. But like there are three things that Smallville got wrong, and I feel like Arrow got those right. And I will say that. I will always say Smallville's a better show, but Smallville has made mistakes in the past. And Arrow,
Even past 7 seasons they made mistakes, and then the rest of the 3 seasons, even though we love these characters and it's not perfect, but it's still the good out far away the bad.
Well, coming soon to the channel, Quiver Talk.
We could do
Quiver.
that. We could do the Quiver talk.
What the hell's Quiver's talk? I don't get it.
Arrow, quiver, like you
Get
store
it?
arrows in a quiver.
Okay, yes,
In
I
a
get it.
Quiver. Yeah, yeah.
But
Or it should
I
have
was
been
thinking I say
called.
like
It
quick.
should
Are
have
we
been
talking
called
about
like.
Quicksilver?
It should have been called like Arrow Talk. Arrow Talk hasn't been taken.
Talking
that's good.
arrows. No, that's a
Good point.
ban, I
Talking
think.
Arrow. That
But
not bad.
That's a
we
ban, I
see
think.
we see the last of Lex in this episode. He's hooked up to all types of machines, looking like Darth Vader before the mask gets
I
put.
was literally gonna fucking bring that up, but at the same time, when he starts talking, it almost sounds like Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, except the voice sounds much better
It looks
than the
just
one,
like
the
Nolan.
one with the gay aliens going.
Ceremony here.
I'm just
The
saying Nolan took
ceremony.
inspiration. Nolan took inspiration, okay? Because he looks just like Tom Hardy's Bane with the mask and all. I'm thinking
Except
Nolan
he's
took
not bulky.
inspiration.
Except
Nolan's
he's
not
not
just going.
bulky. Except that Lex is not bulky.
Nolan just got a sketch pad and goes, guys, pull up the season 8 episode of
Let it pull up the season 8
Smallville
episode.
Requiem.
Pull
Hurry,
up the
hurry.
season 8 episode. Come on, we
I
gotta
want
take
Bane to
notes
look
from
like
that show.
that.
I
Though
want Bane
I
to
want
look like
Bane to look.
I will say though, this was a lame way for Lex to go out. Just a random explosion. I'm just sitting up there like you only live twice, or not you only live twice, but the
twice.
no, but The
Ryan
opening,
lives twice. When he dies, he's gonna like, guess what? I'm back, guys.
but
Unfortunately, I'm gonna die again. He's like
the
Doctor
opening to
Who,
the
but he's
Bond
gonna die and regenerate.
but the opening to the Bond film For Your Eyes Only has a lamer villain death than this.
Is that the one? No, that's not the one where Mardi Gras, where the guy's just walking when the double O agent's walking in Mardi Gras, and
That's
then all the people show up and kill him, and then they're like, "We have your funeral," and they kill him, and then they take his body.
That's Live and Let Die. This is the one where Bond picks up Blofeld with the helicopter and drops him down a
Oh
chimney.
yeah, that was dumb. Yes, that. Oh, that's the dumbest way for Blufffield to go. I think they were just trying to get rid of a past like plot line. They're like, yeah, we set this up from the last movie or
Pretty
something.
much, yeah,
But
they tried
also
to.
but also it was kind of a lamest way that they wanted to resolve this whole storyline with Lex. Like the writers could not figure out how are we going to write him out of
I
the
feel like they
show,
wanted Michael Rosenbaum back, and they
and they couldn't get
couldn't
him
get him back,
back.
so they were just like,
And I'm pretty sure his response was, "You gonna pay me more?" And they're like, "Nope." And I'm like, well,
How different would it have been if the CW had fucking came to their senses and actually give him a raise because he's been with that show since day
he
one.
even said
And
recently on a podcast, he says, I literally told them, I said, they said, let's make you, I said, make me an offer. And if they, he said, like, literally, he said, if they would have paid me like 3 or 4 times my salary, I probably would have stayed. I'm like, you know what? I'm being the highest paid actor on television right
it would
now.
have been like season 8 would have been a different season if Michael Rosenbaum had stayed on the show. We wouldn't have had Tess Mercer with the actress Katie Cassidy coming into the role to basically kind of replace him.
I mean,
If
you
you
could
really
see
think
what they
about
would
it,
have done because 80% of like Tessa's stuff would have been,
it would have been Lex. It
yeah.
I
would have
don't want
definitely
to
been Lex.
I don't want to speak for my co-hosts here, but I feel like I've been kind of hammering home of like once Rosenbaum left, like this show just lost something. And this show cannot survive despite the talents of Tom Welling, Erica Durance, and Sam Witwer. This show cannot survive on those talents alone. They just couldn't.
The only thing that they really want to keep surviving is the main characters that we know, and
They had to switch time.
especially when you have Justin Hartley as Oliver Queen, that they made him a
And
regular on that show on purpose because he's the one who was able to carry it, especially with the screen time he has with Clark and Oliver, because they're so rich and so compelling.
Like
before I
God,
go into my likes and dislikes, I will say one thing about this is, yeah, the show, you're right, Ryan. Like the show didn't really, I mean, they had to switch time slots. Like, literally, they went from Thursday nights to Friday nights on at 8, and that's because like they said the show was doing so poorly in the ratings during season 8. And so they said, let's switch it to Friday nights instead of Thursday because Thursday was prime time. Like Supernatural came on great. It was literally competing with Grey's Anatomy. And so literally, so Smallville, which ironically, Grey's Anatomy is still on the air for some reason. Like I'm like Smallville and Supernatural, like literally Smallville was on when Grey's Anatomy started, and then they're still on the air. And I'm like, at this point, you're just like you're on that show for a
Dude,
paycheck.
the
Okay?
Grey's Anatomy is an endless soap opera show that never ends, especially with the NCIS, every Law and Order, all that shit is still going.
Oh yeah, Stephanie was
And
telling me that she's they're like 25 seasons in or something. I'm like, what?
it's like
Not
Because I need to finish
not only
season 20.
that,
I can't be committed to watching those shows because there's so fucking many to follow.
there was also an NCIS New Orleans, and now there's an NCIS Origins, which is Leroy Gibbs's origin story. But I digress. Collins,
But
you were talking about your likes.
but yeah, that's what I just want to say. Like I said, there's a reason why. Like no Lex, no show kind of thing. But uh, I will say I did like I like the opening of how like you see a picture of Lionel and Lex. Like it reminds you of like I like how their presence still looms even though they're both gone. And so and I like also how I also like how I'm trying to think looking at
You know what
Oliver. I like
you know
the
what the
fact
pictures of
is
Lionel and Lex in the paper, it just makes us miss them even more on the show.
it does it really does.
That's what it really the reality. It's like fuck you assholes.
And I also I like there's some things I dislike. Like I'm gonna tell you the thing I do. I like Oliver when he was flirting with the nurse. I thought that was like that's such an Oliver Queen thing.
Yeah.
And I like Toyman. I thought Toyman was a great adversary to Superman and to this. And yeah, he's a famous comic character in Superman the animated series. He actually is a puppet. He is a puppet. It's basically Chucky in Superman the animated series. And
That's
so, and I
true.
do like how they have a puppet he talks to, and it's actually just Lex Luthor. And I do like that they brought Lex Luthor back, and I do like Oliver killing Lex, even though it's so
Even though it
anticlimactic.
even though it
It
doesn't
doesn't
make
make
any
any
sense.
sense.
Because
I
there's
bet.
no way that he would outsmart Lex. Lex is much more smarter than Oliver. No matter how fucking badass that Oliver is as a Green Arrow, there's no fucking way you're gonna outsmart Lex. He's the most fucking mind manipulative motherfucker, like criminal mastermind that you ever know. No way in
Yeah,
hell that made any sense. I don't buy that he would get outsmarted by him.
which you know what, the showrunners like have said something. The showrunners, even after this episode aired, were saying something about Lex. Remember, they were
Yeah.
saying they were saying about Lex the whole entire time, even though people were like, "Did Lex just die?" The showrunners were literally being brutally honest, something that most showrunners nowadays would not be brutally honest about. They would just be like, "I don't know, maybe, maybe not.
Is
You'll
he really
have to
dead?
wait."
Is
They
he
would
dead?
literally just straight up say when someone asked them, "Hey, is Lex really dead?" And they would straight up tell you. And I'm like, I respect the fact, even though I didn't like the directions they went, I respect the fact that they're that brutally honest and tell you straight up, is Lex dead? And they would absolutely tell you yes or no. I'm not going to tell Ryan because I want Ryan to see the later seasons, but
Yeah.
I will say the showrunners gave a brutally honest answer, and I respect that because most showrunners have played tiptoes with that. And
But sometimes even if they are brutally honest, they could still mislead the fans too.
yeah, which I
Well,
mean, yeah, but at the same time, but they were brutally honest when
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
yeah, they never were deceiving. That's what I liked about it. But I will say,
But also, sorry if I'm cutting you off, but I want to say one thing before I
oh,
forget. Yeah, they definitely like fucking ended off the story with Lana, like a final send off for good on that show.
well,
yeah,
and
I actually like the fact that they got rid of Lana.
Yeah, I was like, come on, can we just put this out of our misery with the
the
Lana and
most
Clark roller coaster ride? Come
in the
on, man.
most in the most blatant ass metaphor for this entire show I've ever seen. Clark kisses Lana, who is just up to her eyeballs in kryptonite, and like basically like gets all the green veins like all in and nearly collapses as she walks away. I said to
She's
myself,
literally his ultimate weakness, even figuratively and literally. Not even a joke.
He can never even go near her again. I thought that was so great. Which Kristen Cronk said someone asked her at Comic Con. I think I just saw the clip. I don't know if I sent you guys the clip, but they asked her at Comic Con recently, would she be back for season 10? This was recently, like if
Yeah.
she was going to be back was she offered a role in season 10? And she said, yeah, they offered me a role, but I turned it down because I'm like, there's nothing else you can do with the character. I mean, my character story, that was the end. And honestly, we already closed that role loop in season 7, and then they brought me back for a couple of episodes to try to really send me off again. And I'm like, what are you going to do? Bring me back just to send me off again? And I'm like,
I know
it just feels like
it's just repetitive. Like
it feels like
what
we
would be
keep
the
going in
point?
circles with this character, and I just didn't want to do that again. I said, look, I love this.
And I don't blame her. I don't blame her for wanting that. I bet she was like, "Oh God, they're gonna have to
You could tell where they wanted to
they
have
must have
Lana too.
they
You
must have
could tell.
they must have paid her a shit ton of money to be back for 5 episodes as a guest star
they must have.
to
And
write her off again the second time."
before we close out, I just want to ask, I wonder how they're going to address the Chloe situation. And the answer is probably going to be, nothing happened for 20 years and we were on vacation.
Also, hey, I do like that Clark I do like whenever whenever Lex dies, Clark does the exact same thing he did with Jonathan and he did with Lionel, where he takes the dirt, of the truck and then does
Yeah,
this.
he does the thing just like yeah, his
Because
dad,
that was his friend. That was his
just
friend.
like Lionel and Lionel as well. He did the same thing with Lionel at his funeral. Like will hold the dirt in his hand and then put it into his grave.
Clark,
Then
yeah.
with Lex again.
Because
Yeah,
Clark,
because
they're
even though
enemies
he's
now,
his biggest enemy, he's still his like a brother to him. He
was his
still
friend.
sees him as the guy who saved on the bridge that we saw in the pilot when they first met.
And that
Well,
got me really emotional because it's like the guy who I saved
Even though
his life,
it
and he
pissed me
says he
off of
was
how
my
they handled the
friend.
direction with Lex. Like it kind of pissed me off, but but the writers really needed to write his character out of the show because they don't have Michael Rosenbaum, so they can't find a way to write around him off screen.
well, we do need to get on to these other episodes, so
I just
let's.
want to say two more things, Ryan, before we go. One, I just like, and also I do like the Oliver killing Lex for basically killed Lex basically, but because Lionel killed his dad, Lionel killed his parents, and so
Yeah,
basically this was retribution basically for Oliver, where
yeah, it
he's
was
like,
retribution
you
for him.
killed my parents, So I'm going to kill your son, and then
But
it's over.
also
And
he
after he
want, but
kills
also he
Lex,
wants to protect Clark
smiling.
too. I mean, he wants to get rid of him. He thinks he's doing it for the greater good. And I like the scene in the hospital when he's coming face to confronting Chloe and called her out on her bullshit that you think you wanted to justify me for murder for not for murdering Lex. How about Sebastian Kane? You're the one who murdered him in the hospital to protect this secret.
I
Which
mean, yeah, I mean,
that's me. I like that moment. And the one
it,
final moment when the final moment with Lana and Clark, she did a little bit of a callback from the pilot in the graveyard when they were talking about Lana's parents that she will never be alone that Clark told to her. I thought that was a really good callback, even though it was kind of stupid the way that they were writing her out of the show when they should have left that where it is. But I did like that final send off for that dialogue with Lana.
do you guys know that Batman versus this episode does the exact same thing Batman versus Superman literally did the same thing, where basically Lex Luthor basically blows up a building, instructs to someone to blow up a building, hide the device, blows up a building, and then in Capitol Hill does the exact same thing, only to kill everyone in the room. Mercy and but the only difference is
It
Jesse
was in a wheel,
Eisenberg
but
actually
it was in a
succeeded.
wheelchair. But it was in a
Yeah,
wheelchair.
but it was the same like ideology. Like he wanted to kill everybody in the building to to achieve something. While
But it's kind of
Lex
odd. It's
Luthor,
kind of odd that Oliver survived it by hiding behind the fucking table.
I mean, yeah, that was also a
Just
little
hide behind the
dumb. But I
fucking
mean,
lead table and you'll survive that explosion.
I I just thought that actually made me laugh though, because it's like this is literally it feels almost like Zack Snyder is also taking
Well,
notes
dude,
from
he took
this.
like
It
this.
feels
It's
like
oh,
everybody's
dude,
taking
Zach took
notes.
a lot of notes from Smallville. He loved that show. He watched it. Series.
Well, Zack Snyder actually admitted he is a
That's no
Smallville fan.
surprise.
He said like Chloe
He brought some
Sullivan,
of the act. He
he put
brought a couple of
Sullivan's.
actors in the film in Man of Steel. From they
Jimmy
were
Olsen was literally Grant Gabriel in this show.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
You got hello, he would live for
the
like
guy who
five
gets killed
minutes.
early in the movie in
He lived for
BVS.
5 minutes screen time.
He's a fucking secret agent somehow. What is it?
And also the Toy Man is so obsessed. Like he has way too much knowledge about toys. He has too many metaphors about toys to which I'm like, was like said, like, shut the fuck up, Winslow. I don't care about your toy
I would have
metaphors.
loved for him to say
Shut
that to
up.
Winslow. It's
If
like
you say it one more time, I'm going to have one of my men kill you because I am so. If I didn't need you, I would
I don't need you, Winslow.
literally
Why don't you
kill you
just shut the
because
fuck
you are
up?
annoying. Nobody cares about toys as much as you do. But let me tell you something. The first toy was invented in this time, and I'm like, fuck you and shut up. I'm still gonna talk because you're a puppet and turn the camera off. So back in this day, that's right. And I'm like, fuck, I hate this son of a bitch. When I
It's like
swear to God,
turn this fucking monitor off, please, for the love of God.
the
Well,
puppet goes off.
Collins, what's
But
your
yeah, if I had to give it, I would say this is a 9 out of 10 episode.
Really, you liked it that much?
I think this is my favorite episode of the three.
Okay.
Okay, Matt?
I'm gonna give it a 7. It was a solid episode. Not great. I had some issues with it, but it's still a solid. I liked it.
I am going with Matt on this one. I'm going 7. It's good. I liked it. Yes, I sided with Matt. Another win for him. But let's let us move apace. It is season 8, episode 15. Oh boy, this is a real gem called Infant. Linda
Matt's
Lake.
favorite episode of the season. Like, I mean, really.
Yeah, it's the greatest of all time.
It's
Linda
literally like
Lake.
the poor man's No Way Home. We were literally talking, okay, this is the poor man's No Way Home.
Before No Way Home even happened.
John Watts saw this.
Let me read the synopsis, please.
Lois, I want you to write my story.
What story?
I'm the red blue blur.
Guess I should stop calling you Smallville.
Excuse me, Mr. Kent. Could I get your autograph?
Funny thing about people, the only thing they love more than building up heroes is tearing them down.
He is the first wave of an alien invasion.
I was sent to this planet to kill Clark.
Sure, you won't have any problem with us running some tests.
No one's running any tests.
Give people a chance to see who you really are.
Just turned me into a public enemy.
Smallville, all new episode March 12th at 8/7 Central.
Linda Lake comes back to Smallville, and there was much rejoicing, and blackmails Clark to expose his true identity. However, Clark decides he will reveal his secret by himself. A fanatic teenager fakes a fall so Clark can save her. So, yeah, this one was not good. Like, I did not care for this at all, really.
Yeah, Linda Lake is back. Remember her from season 6? She was in that episode.
Remember
She's
Tori
looking
Spelling?
she's
Tori
looking
Spelling.
she's looking mighty spry for having been turned to a puddle by a car.
I'm just
Didn't
saying,
they mention in a later episode that she was one of the prisoners at Black Creek with one of the meteor freaks and she somehow escaped?
They
And well,
tried to
like probably
explain it away with like a whole like electrocution thing, and it just
the police cleared her fucking name even after all the murders she committed. How the fuck
there's
is that
no
even
way this
possible?
episode, they forget that she has water powers at one point in this episode because I'm like, she could escape by doing this with the water. And I'm like, literally, it feels like they forgot that she had water powers because I'm like, I'm watching this going, why doesn't she just use her water powers? There's that one scene when Davis kills her at the end. I'm
Well,
like,
she couldn't escape because of the electricity that was fucking on her wrist that she was strapped in. She couldn't escape even if she wanted to.
but
Because
whenever
remember, the
she's fighting
electricity was her
Lois, she's
weaknesses.
fighting Lois.
It kept her from transforming transforming into a water when she was like strapped down from an electric fucking wrist on her in the bed.
and you know
like at one
we're
point, Clark
talking
grabs. I'm sorry.
we're talking about how much this show pulled from the Nolans. I mean, literally, as soon as like Clark puts the Legion's ring on to go back in time to like do the whole Groundhog Day thing, it's like Lois is like, no, wait, I need to tell you, Davis's ring, and
I
then
thought that was a kind of a fucking dick move that you just cut her
and
off the moment you put on that ring.
it's
Like, dude, she was about to reveal that Davis Bloom is Doomsday. She
it's
was literally about to
literally
tell him.
it's literally from The Dark Knight where Rachel Dawes is strapped to the chair and she's like, it's okay. Some bang. It's like that whole scene.
Honestly, I think they saw Iron Man in theaters and they were
And
just like, you know what, we should include that
I quote
element.
from Hugh Jackman from Wolverine. Nobody gets a speech. Not everybody gets a speech.
I mean, seriously though, like, I mean, I'm sitting there watching this and I'm like, first off, the Flash stole from this episode because I was like, there's an episode in season 1 where like the Reverse Flash is revealed and like there's I think a weather wizard, like a tsunami is about to hit the city or something by the weather
Yeah,
wizard,
yeah. Then he turned back
and then
time.
yeah, he turned back time and then Cisco gets killed by Reverse Flash and I'm like, all this stuff is happening at once and you're like, what? And then all of a
Yeah, because
sudden it goes,
there was going to be a major fucking like tidal wave that was going to destroy the whole goddamn city. Then fucking Iris was able to that Barry revealed himself as the Flash to Iris before he has to go back and stop the fucking tidal wave, and then he accidentally tapped into the Speed Force.
yeah, changed it from like a week and I'm just like
No,
watching this
actually a day.
going,
No, it was
or
actually a day.
yeah,
Yeah, it was a day.
and I'm thinking,
Which I thought that sequence was fucking awesome. I love
yeah, I
that
mean, it's a
sequence.
great, I mean,
It was
especially
perfect.
that is a better version of this episode.
Oh yeah, they just it just like the time travel thing. They just did not do it well. But I understand that
Smallville,
Clark wanted to undo it because the world is not really ready for him to know who he is. But I just think they didn't really do it well because there's so many plot holes with fucking Tori Spelling's character was so ridiculous of how they've handled it. Oh yeah, if I write a fucking piece of paper and blackmailing you, and everybody's going to believe it and say, what evidence? What's your facts? You just write it down on the fucking piece of paper and run your story and people are going to just buy into it? Makes no fucking sense to me.
I'm 90% sure they will at least investigate Clark, but there's no way that they're just going to say, like, if I said right now that, okay, Michael Jordan, the basketball player, murdered Biggie. I'm sure somebody will investigate that. You know,
Yeah,
Biggie,
true.
you know, the Big, the notorious rapper.
Yeah, if you're trying to spread fucking gossip of your story, the authorities
They
would
would not
fucking
arrest
done it.
him.
They would not arrest him. They would investigate him first before they start like.
And then they would
him.
arrest me if they turn out it's false because I'm like I'm accused, or they wouldn't arrest me.
Yeah,
They would
if it's false, if you're trying to spread false, they will they take that shit seriously.
like
with
she
false
put
news.
Lex Luthor or Clark Kent murdered Lex Luthor.
It's
I'm
fake
like,
news. It's fake news.
Like literally, Tori Spelling is just like, you know, like saying like she's just like the biggest gossip reporter, and I'm just thinking, watch is going. You can't literally just tell people.
Yeah,
this.
Clark is a fucking alien from another planet. He's the red blue blur. It's him. With what facts? What's your evidence?
This woman is one step above Grace Randolph, and the feds are just like, she seems credible. Arrest that
I'm
man.
pretty sure Grace Randolph got it from fucking Tori Spelling. I'm pretty sure she got it from that shit.
Lois is kind of a jerk in this episode, though. Like she'd like choose Clark out and be like, "You kept me in line for 3 hours at the thing," and I'm just like,
I was like, give him a break.
I'm sure
he was busy.
Yeah, and later on, like gets a little better, but I was just like, I'm like, just calm down, okay? Like
But
it's not that.
I did like the fact that Clark revealed the truth to her in that alternate timeline, like, which
Oh,
I liked.
also, I forgot to mention, there's a scene in the movie when Lois interviews Clark, whenever after he picks up the desk and everything. It
Mhm.
parallels to the scene in Superman the movie with Lois Lane and Superman on the rooftop.
Good
Because she
call.
goes,
Yeah.
"Can you see through anything?" And now I'm like, that literally is very
Yeah, that
cue
was
the
intentional.
Spider-Man
That
three
was
clip.
definitely purposeful. That was definitely on purpose.
That scene is very cue the Spider-Man 3 clip, Brian.
Similar.
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 It's very similar.
Yeah, because I'm like, they're literally just ripping off one of the greatest movies of all time now. Because it's just like, I mean, to be fair, but that fits. It's not like Spider-Man doing this
It didn't
scene.
try to copy. It didn't try to copy and paste.
Yeah, because I'm like, Lois, I do like that was a homage to that scene in the rooftop scene in Superman the movie. And I'm just watching it going, oh, so Lois is like, what can you see? You know, I also like how Clark revealed his identity, but it makes Chloe's life a living hell because Chloe can't even like her. Jimmy can't go to the hospital there because of
Yeah,
the
he can't get
paparazzi
transferred
there.
there because
His mom has to
did you
step
notice
down
that
to Senate.
nurse? Did you know that nurse that when she was talking to Davis Moon, that you remember that actress? She was in Zack Snyder's Watchmen. She played the
Oh,
Dr. Manhattan's ex-wife.
I did not know that. Good
I
catch.
know, yeah. And also she'll be playing a different character in 2 more seasons, which I can't say.
I did not. You have to tell me because I don't remember her face.
I'll tell you off when we're not
Well,
when
just send me a
Ryan's not
private
there.
message right now,
I'll
and then
send
I'll
you a
look at it.
private message.
I also like that Lois versus Linda, you know, because I'm like, it just felt like that's Lois's greatest adversary right there, Linda Lake. I feel like that is the perfect person for her to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, there's no one else.
Lois just kicked the living shit out of fucking
First
It
off,
was
Linda Lake.
so satisfying. It was so
That
satisfying.
was
I'm like,
awesome.
kick her
But
harder, kick her harder.
there's a little bit of a plot convenience that really bugged me when Clark was super speeding out of that fucking house when the fucking the DDS were fucking firing at him, and somehow Linda Lake was able to show up out of nowhere when Clark and Chloe were out in the middle of fucking nowhere and suddenly eavesdrop on their fucking
Oh,
conversation. How the hell does she know
okay.
where they be? That's one thing that bugged me a lot. Like,
Okay,
what?
so I have a list of negatives I'm
Here's
about
a
to read. I'm
fucking
just
here's
trying
a
to tell the
quote from Pitch
positives.
Meeting. This is a quote from Pitch Meeting. Super easy, barely inconvenience.
There you go.
Yeah, I have a list of negatives, but I'm gonna say my last positive thing before I read all the negatives I wrote down because I have a lot of negatives I wrote down.
Go
The
ahead.
last thing I will say is I like Chloe finding out about Davis, and like at the end, like
Oh,
it is
I
that big
love
reveal
that.
about.
That was the best part.
He was slowly could not control from the beast coming out, and the pills was not working anymore. And I love that he was able to
All right,
confess
so now
to
I heard the
Chloe that he's
positives. It's
Doomsday.
time to shit on this episode.
But the one positive I will say before we get into the negatives, I love that final moment before he used the Legion Ring. They get their little final moment together with him and Lois. And I thought that was great that she was willing to accept him, but she understands that once he hits that reset button, that he's not going to tell her secret. And like, you know what? I understand. And I love that he said that you are special. That was a great final moment, I will admit.
Yeah. All right, so you guys ready to read the shit the shit of
Yeah,
this
let's
episode?
get into
Let's
the
go.
Okay,
nitty-gritty.
first off, this is just me being a nitpick, but I'm sorry, but antipsychotic meds would not be like in a gum type rat plastic. They would be like in a
It
pill
looked like
bottle.
it looked like a fucking like tobacco gum or some shit.
Sponsored
Also,
by Nicorette.
Nicorette, yeah, that's the one. That's the one it's called.
Also, the snapshot of Clark on the cover looks so fake. Like a professional paper, but not just put a yearbook photo on top of the cover. Like, I'm like, really? They could have done a better job. Instead, it's just like a picture of Clark. It looked like Tom Welling just went and did this. All right, that's the cover we're going to use for the cover we use for season 5.
To be fair, Tom Welling does not do photo shoots. He does not like doing photo
It looked
shoots.
like so
they had to use
cover.
something. It almost seems like that that jacket in that photo, that still shot of him, that was not there. It was just a blue fucking t-shirt that he wore when they took that photo, and they just tweaked it.
Photoshop that shit. Oh,
yeah, they photoshopped the shit out of that shit.
The snapshot, this is the thing that made me like, so I got so angry I almost screamed. Like, there's no way, this makes no sense. This is literally, I got angry. Okay, Linda Lake, okay, can disappear and everything. So in a crowd of people, everybody's trying to go to Clark's autograph. Linda Clay appears out of nowhere, out of water, and then basically blackmails, tells her, "Oh, you're gonna pay for this."
And no one fucking saw it. Nobody's
seen it. Nobody saw that. I'm like, there is a lady that just.
They're literally acting
like
nothing's happening. They're like, what the fuck is she invisible?
Nobody saw that. Nobody saw that.
She must have an invisibility cloak or some
Are
shit.
you all
Like,
retarded?
what the fuck?
Why didn't nobody see this?
Are you mental?
Like, literally, this lady turns the water, and nobody's seen it in a crowd of people.
Yeah, no one saw it.
The piss in the crowd.
You were literally 2 feet away from her. For
He
fuck's
could have
sake.
literally did this and poked her.
There's something wrong with your goddamn peripheral vision. Is there something your goddamn peripheral vision?
I'm sitting there watching
scene that was left on the cutting room floor was K and J from Men in Black going, look at this eye right here.
Yeah, probably Agent K and J probably fucking neuralized. Like, yeah, look into this.
I would like so much a behind the scenes video of Tori Spelling just disappearing and like, all right, Tori, this is where you turn back in the water. Okay, everybody, just don't look, and then Tori just walks away. And then like, all right, cut. All right, and everybody's like, I'm just like I would have seen that. I think that made more sense.
It's like the part from Whose Line Is It, or not Whose Line, but the complete works of William Shakespeare abridged, where they're reenacting Tybalt dying, and he's like, "Oh, I am slain," and it's just the blade goes underneath his pit, and he just casually walks off stage.
It makes no sense though. Like how she just appears in water and then just doesn't appear. I'm like, it would make more sense if she would just disappear through a crowd. But like, instead, like there's like, or it would have made more sense if she would appear through water into the crowd. The first one I could forget because I'm like, you know what? There's so many people. Some people like, did I just see someone turn to water? I don't know. My mind might be playing tricks on me. But then maybe some more people are hounding Clark and some more people engage into Clark. And then so where he looks and she's gone. That would have made more sense. Instead, she just disappears into like a small group of people that are crowning Clark, and then she disappears again. And I'm just like, no one saw this. No one. There's not one. People are going like this, like, where'd she go? Instead, people are just like, I'm like, that makes no sense. Or wouldn't it make more sense if Linda Lake tried to write a fake article about herself being from Krypton and say, like, and because she could turn to water, say I'm from a water planet. It would have made more sense there. I mean, obviously they could debunk that easily, but still, I'm just saying, like, Linda Lake literally turns in the water. I mean, she has abilities to, I'm just saying that make no sense that she just disappears into that crowd and no one looked at that. It was like everybody like had basically, I'm like, did the School for the Blind show up that day?
Okay.
And was that like a field trip? Like, because it just made no.
Yeah, I'm kind of done with this episode. Just
all right. I just want to say I got a few more negatives. Also, Dave. All right, so look, this is another thing I just had. This episode, besides I already talked about the weather. Why wouldn't Clark also just do what he did? Like, he says basically shows up to her place after he does the time travel thing. Why wouldn't he just show up? Okay, and just be like, and why didn't he just do that in the first place when Linda Lake says, "Oh, you're going to pay for this"? And why wouldn't Clark say, "You know what? I did my paper on you as well." Because that felt like such a Mean Girls type of thing where Clark's like, oh, you're going to write an article about me? Well, I'm going to write an article about you. Boom. And I'm just like, what is this, like high school? What is this?
No,
it's Clark, a 14-year-old
Is this
girl?
It's like a fucking burn book style?
No, Collins. It's
like Mean Girls or some shit.
No, it's Twitter. That's what it is.
I'm just saying it made no sense when he's like, I wrote an article about you. I'm like, well, first off, why wouldn't you lead with that in the back when you actually because before you put the ring on, why wouldn't you lead with that before, like back when Linda Lake was going to try to villainize you? Why wouldn't you lead before you had to use time travel? You wouldn't have used the ring if you would have wrote the article in the first. I'm just saying, Clark, you're an idiot. You're Clark comes off like an idiot in this episode because he just feels like instead of like Clark being a journalist and doing shit like that, Clark's like, no, I am not a threat. No. And I'm just like, Clark, my brother in Christ, you're an idiot. Sorry. You're not the smartest guy in the room right now in this episode. No. Jimmy Olsen is more smarter in these 3 episodes than you are. Jimmy Olsen.
He's not even there.
And he's on drugs in the last episode.
He's hospitalized. He couldn't. There's no way.
He's a junkie.
It's odd that Tess is not in this episode and she's mentioned off screen and they didn't put her in this episode.
Also, it makes no sense how Linda Lake knows that Davis is Doomsday or knows about the Legion ring either.
Well, she's been fucking scrumming around in Metropolis, spying on Davis Bloom and seeing all the.
Also, wouldn't Davis be investigated since he was the last one in the room?
Yeah, I know that. Like he was the last one in the room. Suddenly she died of suffocation. How the fuck? Like how did they not put two and two together? There's surveillance
But
camera, and she
Davis
was,
would be
and
the
she,
first one to
and
be
the nurse
investigated.
called him that Linda
That
Ray
nurse would
wants
testify
you.
against him.
Exactly.
Yeah, Davis was
I was
in
like,
the
yeah,
room.
he got
I
away
told
scot-free, no problem. But you know what? It's
Davis,
TV.
what
It's
happened?
another logic
I walked
TV
in there and
bullshit
she was
thing.
dead. Like, it made no sense to me. And I'm like, it made no, and also his fingerprints were on that pillow. So right then there, that right there's hook, line, and sinker for a murder conviction.
Yeah, you left the DNA behind.
I'm just saying that makes no sense that this like whole episode has so many plot fucking holes, and I'm just like,
Somehow he could be able to control the beast for coming out is by committing murder before he has a chance to transform.
also apparently that beast has no fingerprints because literally Davis.
Well, technically he has no DNA. He has no DNA.
He's basically Dexter. Can we just say that?
Let's.
I got a
let's
funny
work with
Dexter
that.
joke in my notes in the next episode.
Speaking of the next episode, let's get to that. But first, scores. Collins, go.
5 out of 10.
That's higher than I was expecting, to be honest.
Well, I was just like saying the only thing that made me like was I like the fact that Clark, like you see Clark as a hero, and I liked the fact that Davis everything Davis does in this episode is pretty good, and I like the fact that it shows that even though Clark, he's going to have repercussions that like, oh, for me, real my day, people around me are going to suffer. Yeah, you know what? I just realized I gave it a higher score than I should have. 3 out of 10.
That's more like it. Matt, what about you?
I'll give it a 4.
I'm gonna side with Jacob on this one and go 3. This was
There you go. That's a big win for you, you asshole.
this was a pain to get through.
Yeah.
But thankfully the next one.
But I will appreciate though that it's just to show you that the world's just not ready for him yet because he hasn't fully earned the world's people's trust to come out that way.
We're getting there, but we're just not there yet. But let's talk about season 8, episode 16, called Turbulence.
Prepare for departure.
Did Lex talk to you about me?
He kept a journal.
What did it say?
Losing altitude. What are we gonna
Smallville, all new episode this Thursday at 8/7 Central.
Tess devises a plan which will reveal Clark's true identity, while Davis comes up with a plan to ease the demon within him, but finds himself trying to scramble after Jimmy sees him kill someone. So yeah,
Davis is basically Dexter in this episode.
Yeah, we get Davis, Clark, and or not.
Didn't Dexter already come out during this time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
going.
that's what I thought.
Davis is basically Michael C. Hall in this episode.
Yeah, they literally kind of ripped
I'm
off
killing
Dexter.
I'm killing evil people, so like yeah, I'm a serial killer, but
yeah,
I'm
and the
killing
priest,
bad people.
yeah, and the priest that he talked to in his confession, he approved it.
Well, you know what? Hey, you know what? I'm going to tell you this right now. We can Smalltalk group can confirm you can be a serial killer in life as long as you kill bad people. I mean, no, don't do that. We're joking because I just realized I forgot that that United Healthcare CEO just got killed and people think he's a hero. I'm like, no, I don't want to inspire people like that. No, we're just
Don't give them any ideas.
Too soon. But Collins, what did you think?
I thought this was a good episode. This might be my second favorite episode of the season of this 3 episodes of the 3. I do like how the this episode really is about 2 things. The focus is on Jimmy, Davis, and Chloe, and then the other thing is just Clark's a side plot in this episode. That's the only thing I didn't like was Clark is just a subplot in this episode. He is not even part of the main plot. The main plot is Jimmy.
Yeah,
even though this
was more of a Jimmy, Davis, and Chloe centric episode,
and that's the better part of the episode. The side plot, like
that was kind of dumb. That was kind of dumb. That was so.
Remember in season 6 they did the frequency episode, and that was the main plot. And Clark,
pretty much. But the difference is that Zoner was more interesting than the one with the static. I like that more, but this one is quite the opposite of that.
It's like Clark has the shittiest plot of the episode. Like
the shittiest side plot.
Nothing happens in this episode though. Like, look.
Oh yeah, Tessa's trying to get him.
It.
Yeah, he's just Tessa's trying to.
Like, besides the Davis,
trying to stage this whole fucking accident on the fucking Queen jet to try to get him to reveal himself that he is the Red Blue Blur. That's what it
besides
was.
if you were to take the Jimmy and Chloe
I mean,
and Davis
I will
stuff
say
out,
that they definitely revealed a little bit more deeper into Tessa's
yeah,
backstory. I did like that, but other
but
than
like
that, it was kind
nothing.
of
There's
lame.
no villain of this episode, really. There's no villain. It literally is
Dude,
just
the pilot had to fake his own death and go into a new life. Remember that shit at
yeah.
the end of that episode?
It's like they stole from season 4 of Smallville,
Pretty much.
or with Lex and his fiance.
No, that was 3. That was 3. That was season 3.
Yeah, but I'm saying season. Oh yeah, season 3, episode 1. Yeah,
Yeah.
it just reminds me of that. And I'm like, all right, did we already do this story back in season 3?
But that was crazy in this main story that fucking Davis is fucking constantly gaslighting Jimmy because Jimmy
that's so
witnessed him.
funny. That was
He was a constant gaslighting the shit out of him, and Chloe fucking sided with Davis. That was one negative that I did not like. That was very out of character for Chloe. Like you're taking Davis' side for a guy you've known for months and over your own fucking husband that you married.
Oh, there are problems in this episode, and I'm
That
about
I
to
did
reveal one.
that I did not like that part.
Oh yeah, this episode.
Oh, he's
retcons.
patrolling. Oh yeah, and Davis Boom is literally patrolling like he's a fucking cop in Metropolis, trying to look for some fucking low life thunks to murder.
This episode retcons episode 4 of the season, where remember when Davis went up to Chloe, and remember how they had the group therapy session with the guy, the foggy guy that's killing people.
Yeah, the one who was trying to take credit for what Davis did.
Yeah, Davis is telling Chloe, I have a demon in me. I feel like Eve. I feel like every time I want to hurt, maybe if I'm the killer. And then literally Chloe forgets. Apparently Chloe literally forgot that whole thing, conversation ever existed, because
I mean,
literally
it must be from the Alzheimer's.
Because Chloe literally just forgets that ever happened, because I'm watching this going,
she looked
Jimmy's
the other
saying
way,
that Davis is a murderer.
but also
Davis told you.
she looked the other way. She didn't really think of that he's a monster or a murderer, even though he confessed that he may be the killer. He literally confessed it. She's like, no, it's not you. You just met this fucker.
It'd be like this, man. If you said you felt like a rapist, and then like a couple of weeks later, someone said, I think Matt, someone accuses you of rape, and I'm like, well, he did say he was a rapist. I mean,
dude, they would have posted that. It would have been posted on social media from fucking till sundown.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, it just felt like it'd be like if like Ryan goes, well, I don't know if he is a rapist or not, because I feel like I met him and I know him. So
and she didn't even bother to put 2 and 2 together. Like, how could she be this dumb?
It makes Chloe
they dumbed down Chloe
in
this season. Chloe
look really dumb.
Like, you just made her look dumb. Like, come on, that made no sense. Like, what? I would have, because I'm with Jimmy on this. I would have been so fucking pissed. Like, what? You're gonna side with them?
If this episode had not, if Infamous, if the Legion episode had come out, if it was like what was last week's episodes? I forget.
Infamous.
No. The last.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is that
the
Lana's
Legion
episode?
Yeah, it was. We had the Legion episode. Then we had the Bulletproof with Martian Manhunter, the cop episode. Then we had Lana with fucking like telling her side of the story of what happened to her all these months.
If they didn't have Infamous in this 3, this would be the worst episode of the 3, in my opinion, because this has nothing in it. Nothing happens in this episode besides, okay, there's no villain. Instead it's just like, okay, we get more of Davis's backstory. Davis gaslights Jimmy, and then on top of that, Tess fakes a plane crash. I'm like, okay, that makes no sense to me.
I did like the part when Jimmy was able to put 2 and 2 together about him being. I
do like that, but it's
I love Jimmy in
this
that
episode. Is just basically feels like a filler episode.
But also, it was just a moment that it was going to bring more conflict between him and Davis, and especially ending the marriage between him and Chloe, which that was insane. Which that was probably his best performance, really. Seeing a different side of him that we didn't see.
I mean, you know what? I will say this though. I did like the plane explosion.
That was a cool sequence. Did you know that in the in that promo, in the Turbulence episode, when they were showing the promo, they literally try to mislead us that is he gonna fly now for the first time, taking flight up and away? No, he did not. That was a fucking lie.
That was a cool segment though, but I knew he was not gonna fly.
Yeah, but they kind of hyped that shit up in that episode. I was like, what the fuck, dude? Stop misleading the people like that.
So let me ask you this. So this is so let me ask you this though. There's no camera or stuff in a hospital to see Davis.
Apparently, there's no surveillance camera.
Davis literally
and
killed the
also
guy
when
in
Jimmy,
an elevator, by the way.
yeah, but
Elevator.
hold on. Let me jump in right here. There's one thing there's another shit that really bothered me, and I know it's a very nitpick. When Jimmy was fucking witnessing the murder for the first time, seeing Davis, where's everybody in this fucking hospital? Is no
There's no
one
staff.
working in night
That's no
shift?
staff.
There's no fucking staff. He's the only one there. Where the fuck is everybody?
This guy was able to run through the hospital.
Did CW get really this fucking cheap to not pay any extras in that fucking hospital?
And I'm just like watching this going, okay, there's no staff. This feels like Halloween 2 seems more realistic than this movie.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm just sitting there watching this going, and then on top of that, Dexter, but Davis.
No, you might as well call him Dexter. He is Dexter in this episode.
Dexter's
He's going after and killing bad people.
Non-legally distinct. Ryan, what do I call it?
Off-brand, non-union, legally distinct.
Dexter is literally basically killing people in a hospital with apparently no cameras. Apparently, this hospital cannot afford cameras because literally they would have him on file whenever Jimmy said, "I saw him kill somebody." They're like, "All right, let's pull up the footage." Yep, he killed somebody. You're under arrest, Davis. Instead, they don't even have that.
Somehow they don't have fucking cameras in the fucking hallway. What the fuck is going on here?
If he was smart, he would have also, and this makes him even dumber in this episode because he goes and puts the body in his ambulance, and I'm like, they just literally quit. I'll give him this. Maybe he moved the body and put it somewhere after they searched his ambulance. I'm sure they had to search his ambulance.
They had to search it. No matter what, even if they put you in for questioning, they would have to fucking search your fucking ambulance to make sure that there's no body that you put in.
But the fact is, he puts the body back in the ambulance.
Yeah, what the fuck? That really was so dumb. Like, really? Seriously?
That makes you very dumb. Because all you have to do, if they search it again,
you didn't try to dispose the body.
I mean, it makes.
Like you didn't try to dispose the body. Like,
it just made me look
there's
at Davis
one.
like,
There's
Davis,
another.
you
There's
are
another. There.
It's
and also,
so
this
dumb.
is another negative that really did. There's another negative in.
It's
yeah, but there's
so
another.
dumb.
Hold on. There's another negative that really bugged me when Davis was being fucking strapped into a handcuffed by Jimmy. Chloe shows up and fucking is able to calm the beast down. Why didn't that work in that fucking infamous episode when he was about to beast out in front of her and didn't calm the beast down? That was another major plot. That was a fucking another major plot hole that really bugged me. And
that's different writers that day.
In the moment that fucking like Chloe intervened, what Jimmy was going to do, that really pissed me off. Like, what? Seriously?
Yeah, and also, besides that, I mean, and also, and also, it just literally, you had the Jimmy and Chloe's bullshit, and then Jimmy's a junkie now. I mean, this episode is more.
Yeah, because he's been on fucking constant pain pills. Fuck, and he has PTSD for almost getting mauled to death.
And also, Jimmy just guzzles a pill bottle. But I'm like, dude,
now he's at a point where now he's a junkie. Where
when he takes that many pills,
happened,
I'm like, Jimmy, you're gonna
that kind of made a lot more sense because the way he's in now. Fuck, I get it.
But I'm saying that many painkillers he took in that episode, if that wasn't candy, he would be dead in real life. Because that would have made his heart have a heart attack.
That's
sugar pills.
That's an overdose right there.
I mean, when he took all them pills, I'm like, yeah, you're dead. Jimmy.
I did like the song "I Don't Care" from Apocalypto. That was the lead singer from 3 Days Grace.
Part of this.
I love that. I love they add that song at the end, and it was kind of cool sequence that Cork was able to change in the bullpen at the end of the episode because he was trying to do this whole double life and try to do that callback where he's changing in the bullpen from his red and blue suit or fucking clothes. That was pretty cool.
But yeah. I've said all I said about it. I'm glad I don't have to watch this again.
All right.
Well,
for me, I watched it a million times.
I mean, look, it felt like we started out with a nice dinner, and then the dessert tastes like shit, and then
you don't get a dessert. No, you don't get a dessert at the end of the episode. Yeah. There's no dessert.
It feels like I just ate two shit appetizers.
No, it's like you're in a family dinner and everything was about to go good until you get into a big fucking fight and it ends badly at the night. That's what it feels like.
On top of that, you're low on gas. That's what it feels like for this.
Yeah, you're low on gas and you have to fucking pay for gas. Expensive shit.
You're just like,
it's like fuck.
Well, Collins, what's your score?
5 out of 10.
Okay, Matt, what about you?
I'm gonna give it a 6. It was okay. It was better than Infamous. I will admit.
Oh yeah,
I'll
I agree. It's better
go.
than
Uh, I initially said this was my favorite of the three, but like thinking it and mulling it over, it's gotten like worse as I've thought about it.
That's
And
what happens when a group of us, when we get into the nitty gritty, it starts to change. Like,
yeah,
oh, on second thought,
like, yeah, well, maybe this is a Chloe is an idiot in this episode. Yeah,
yeah,
you're
because
right. Chloe,
no, I wanted to say this for fucking years. Even when it came on TV, I was like, they really dumped
nothing
Chloe
happens in this
down.
episode. It's just gaslight.
They
It
really
should have been
made him.
called Gaslight.
Yeah, because the show is nothing but gaslighting. Even the different Ryan from Talkville even fucking made fun of that name, Smallville, the capital of gaslighters.
exactly.
It really.
Well, I'm going 5.5. It was
It's close to the 6 to my fucking range. So fuck you, Jake.
I mean, he still said five.
It's
Yeah,
well,
5.5.
I hate it when my parents fight, but I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of these three? Let us know in the comments.
Ryan is a grandfather. I guess Ryan is old enough to be your grandfather.
We'd love to read what you have to say. It's a privilege to do this show every week with these guys. Collins, what do you got coming up?
Well, well, I don't know about Grandpa Matt over here, but because Matt is old enough to be our grandfather. But I will say I got my I got I had a Die Hard review, and by the time this airs, hopefully, I have a Christmas review. I had a Die Hard, Good Day to Die Hard review with dropping Friday. By the time this airs, this will have already dropped. And then, of course, I had a review I was scheduled for Friday, but then some technical shit happened to where I had to reshoot the video because I accidentally deleted it. And so
Yeah,
I had to reshoot.
because we were originally supposed to do a Spider-Man watch party with Kyle on
And yeah,
Friday, but then the schedule we had to do it for Monday.
and yeah, and also yeah, but yeah, it was my fault because me and Jacob Martin are busy. Not
Yeah,
because Jacob Martin got something to do, and then also I have a prior commitment I had forgot about. So we're gonna do it. Yeah, we'll be doing a watch party. By the time this airs, we have already done a watch party, and our OnlyFans special for Christmas. Wink, wink.
Well,
And so
at least one of those things is not happening. But Grandpa
yeah,
Matt, when are you coming to visit me for Christmas? And what do you got
Well, kid, I'll come to visit you for Christmas on Christmas Day, buddy.
he's gonna give you a white Christmas. All you have to do is open your mouth.
Oh
Okay,
dear
now you
God.
just oh dear fucking lord. You just had to
Well,
fucking make it weird, even worse.
on that pleasant visual, I think I'm just gonna sign off now. Matt's
But
channel's in the description.
But I
Collins.
want to say that I got my two recent reviews on my channel, Moana 2 and fucking Wicked, and I might record a couple of Christmas movie reviews because we're so close to the holiday, and then we're definitely planning on continue doing that Batman Returns watch party by the end, like before we wrap it up and go into a winter break. So I'm looking forward to that. And by the time this episode airs, as we mentioned before, we would have a Spider-Man watch party by now. And fuck you, Jake, you fucking sick bastard. You're
Well,
making this so fucking weird.
well,
How dare you, you son of a bitch.
well, as far as me goes,
Jesus Christ.
99 Project, Road to Mufasa, you all know the deal. Matt, Jacob, myself, always hold on to Smallville, Truth, Justice, American Way, all that. Y'all take care.